Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. We've got some more transfer news for you, more updates regarding Chelsea Football Club, and we're going to be diving into everything possible surrounding the transfer market and any updates to do with the club as well. Big up to everyone watching on all platforms, whether that's X or YouTube as well. Smash the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel as well. And without further ado, we're going to be jumping straight into all the latest. Big up to you, Monkey Game, and I hope you're doing very well. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to say it's been a massive day in the transfer market, but there's been some interesting revelations, shall we say. I mean, there were certainly rumors going around anyway, but a rumor's a rumor, and you don't think much of it because it is a rumor. But when it turns out that there was genuine interest, or there is genuine interest in certain players, it does make you open your eyes and think, bloody hell, actually, something's going on here. So yeah, I mean, let's get into all the latest. Let's go into the transfer news first. Now, as you saw on the thumbnail and in the title as well, I spoke about, well, you can see Garnacho and you can see Felix as well. This is certainly something that I didn't expect. I know that we could have, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a particularly smart deal. When you look at what we've done with Jadon Sancho, the business, you know, the deals that we've done for certain young players, the list goes on. And you can say for a lot of these guys, you're either getting them at a really good price with a nice wage, or you're buying the best of the best for that age group. And the list, I could go on about the different players that we've signed, and very few of them we've overpaid for, or, you know, paid in inflated transfer fees with big wages as well. I know that there's obviously a couple like your Mudriks and players like that. I can appreciate Fernandez and Caicedo weren't cheap, but you get the point. Generally speaking, I think in recent times, especially this season, including the transfer market in the summer, we've been pretty intelligent. Yeah, I look at a team like Liverpool, for example, and they don't spend an awful lot of money. But when they sign someone, it's a good signing. You look at them and you might not think anything at first, but actually, after watching them play, it's hard not to appreciate the recruitment at Liverpool. You look at Gravenberch, for example. I don't even know how much they paid for him. It wouldn't have been over 30 million. How much left? I'm not even sure. Birch transfer fee. How much did they pay for him? They wouldn't have paid that much. How much did they pay for Gravenberch? 34 million. Okay, that's not a lot of money in the modern market. So that proves what I'm saying. And I feel like Chelsea are almost trying to go in that direction a little bit. We are more risky because we're obsessed with young players. Nobody can question that. But I still think that we've done some good business. You know, Mark Gue was a relatively cheap, low-risk deal. Tosin, I think that was good business. You know, Pedro Neto was a solid player to bring in. Sancho's a bargain. And I've probably missed a couple of others, but generally speaking, I was quite content with the business that we did. But the question was always a striker, and the question is still a striker. But yeah, let's have a look. Big up to Terry. Terry says the Blues will rise up. I hope you are correct. Blue Boy, why do we need another ringer? The defense needs sorting out first. Let me ask you this. So we brought in Trevor Chalobah. Do you believe that we need another defender to come in, especially if the Sassy goes? But I mean, you could just say that Chalobah is a direct replacement for the Sassy. Do you think we need more on top of that? Darmesh, big up to you, my friend. Pressure on us before the Wolves game if results don't go our way this weekend. Possibility of dropping down to 8th. It's a competitive league, but I feel confident. I feel more confident than everyone else. But I have to say, even some of the comments Maresca's made are slightly concerning. When asked about January, he said it's a disaster. It's been a disaster. I mean, that's not exactly... I know we appreciate Maresca's bluntness, but it's not very reassuring, is it? Jordan, big up to you, my friend. Good to see you back in the building. Ziad Osman is the player that we need. 70 million for Garnacho, apparently. Luke, big up to you, my friend. Garnacho is on 50,000 a week. The only reason we're looking at the deal, we spend, but not actually, and certainly not on proven players. Good to see you, Carlito. You jabronis are full of it. Garnacho rules. I was right about Sancho for 2 years, and I'm right about Garnacho. What did you say about Garnacho? Is he the best thing since sliced bread? Luke says, what happens if Vega leaves? I think it's unlikely that Vega leaves, if I'm honest with you, but we'll see. Big up to you, watering can. Jordan, he says, we need to sort of the striker option. The Garnacho deal doesn't make sense. If we get Sancho, Neto, if we got Madueke, I've heard Brighton interested in tossing. No way he's going, Alex. No, he's not going to go. I don't think he will. But people are saying they'd accept a bit of £20 million. Is that something that you would accept? Chelsea going for Garnacho is disgraceful, according to Fortune. I like Garnacho and sliced bread. Garnandos. We are being used by the owners to make profit, bro. They don't care about winning titles. That's what Jason has to say. Big up to you, my friend. Osman and Nico Williams. Thank you, Carefree. Appreciate it, my friend. 10 a.m. here in Australia, but I think we need a clinical striker and a playmaker. Why are we looking at players who aren't in form? Big up to everyone, guys. I've gone through the chat quickly, but I do want to get onto the nitty-gritty. All right, so bear with me. I will be coming back to the chat. If you haven't already, subscribe. We've got 145 people on all platforms as it stands. Let's get up to 30 likes on YouTube. Let's get up to 30 likes. Smash the like button. Big up to yourselves. Let's break this down, shall we? Let's break it down. Now, I want to start off. Now, apparently there was an article on The Athletic, and I am a subscriber, but I want to see. We'll go with Maresca. Yeah, we've got a very short article from Enzo Maresca, but I want to wait for that because let's talk about transfers first. All right, let's get straight into it, guys. Here we go. Chelsea are considering wide players to bolster Enzo Maresca's squad. Garnacho and Gittens fit the profile they are looking for. So this is what we are seeing according to David Ornstein. He's a very reliable journalist in the space. He is, he generally hits things on the net. He hits things on. Oh fucking hell, what's to say? He hits the nail on the head. So he's very accurate. So no reason to question the source. I mean, if we go directly to David Ornstein, has he said anything else? Yeah, so there's not an awful lot, if I'm honest, to go off with this, but we'll take what we can. Right. So this is on The Athletic. Chelsea have made inquiries about Manchester United's Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittens of Borussia Dortmund as they consider options to bolster in wide attacking areas. The 20-year-old wingers are among multiple candidates of interest to Chelsea as they explore potential signings. Conversations remain at an early stage with Garnacho and Gittens fitting the profile of the West London club are pondering to bolster head coach Enzo Maresca's squad. So that seems to be it. I mean, is there anything else? Haaland's contract. Yeah, I mean, nothing else regarding Garnacho, as far as I can see. That's it. According to the Athletic, so it's pretty dry, isn't it? But we don't have the details. But we now know two players that are linked and are seriously linked with Chelsea. So what we're going to do in this live is we're going to look into these players, and we're going to delve in stats. You know, we're going to see their statistics. We're going to look at their history, and we're going to talk about what we think they can bring. What we think they can bring to the team, if they can bring anything to the team. Now the question is, starting with Garnacho, because I know more about him than Gittens. Where does he? Well, he plays on the left. He can play on the right. Who does he replace? Why does he replace someone? And where does he actually fit in? Is he a starter for Chelsea Football Club? I mean, if we look, we're gonna get into this. Let's get on there. Let's get in here, guys. We're gonna dive in. Player and staff profiles. Here we go. Right. So when we look at wingers within the squad, these are the people that he would be competing with for a starting position. Okay. So who have we got? Pedro Neto, Mudryk. We're just going to presume that he is absolutely fine and his case gets dropped because there was a mistake. So let's just imagine Mudryk is in the picture. Madueke, Felix can play in that position. You could argue he's competing with him. Jadon Sancho, Tyreek George. We're not even going to consider Felix. George, Sancho, Neto, Mudryk, Madueke. 5 wingers. So the argument is you bring him in and you have 6, or one of these guys has to go. That's the argument that we're having at the moment. Now, I haven't looked at Garnacho's stats. I haven't looked at any of these stats recently. But we can all agree Pedro Neto is better than Garnacho. We can all agree Jadon Sancho is better than Garnacho. Now, Neto can play on either side, but I think we've been used to seeing Neto more on that right-hand side to account for the fact that Sancho's on the left. So this is direct competition here. So Garnacho doesn't get in and start on that left-hand side. So he'd be number 2 straight away. Potentially a rotation option. Again, you could say the same on the right-hand side. But is he better than Mudryk and is he better than Madueke? So I want to hear what you have to say in the comments, guys, because I have some thoughts on this, and it'd be interesting to see what you think as well, because there's 2 players that could be out of the equation because of Garnacho, and I think those 2 are the players. I think it's between Mudryk and Madueke. Now, part of this could be out of anyone's hands, because if the doping case is real with Mudryk, obviously he's going to be out of the team, and we need a player to come in and replace him. So you could say that Garnacho fills that void. But from Madueke's perspective, you know, we talk about attitude, and this is one of the things Chelsea have been looking for reassurance with, apparently, is Garnacho's attitude. And this is going to take us to, you know, another step of the process that shows us that we are not messing around with this player. There is genuinely an interest, and we are trying to find out as much information as we can. So we've attempted to get reassurance over Garnacho's temperament as part of our homework. Interesting seeing some of the reactions on Twitter as well. If this happens, I will be leading the Win Stewart out protests outside Fulham Broadway. Well, it's not good by the sounds of it. Surely there is better than this. Garnacho will ball out for us. I can't wait. We do not want Garnacho, no way. Instead of going for a striker, we're chasing Garnacho. So I think the overall consensus is an angry one. Not particularly impressed. This is Matt Law. So let's see if anything is on here that's worth actually taking seriously. So Man United are playing hardball over 50 million pound player Garnacho. At least that's what they value him at. But Napoli and Chelsea have questions over his temperament. So we're not the only club in this conversation. Napoli have been relatively active. They were interested in Cassidy as well. But because of the terms that we wanted in selling the player to do with a higher transfer fee and potentially a sell-on clause as well, or add-ons, that put them off. But it seems like Torino are going to come in for another bid to try and get the player off of our hands. So we'll have more to see from that deal. So it's an exclusive. It says the club will not allow the Argentine to leave in a cut price deal this month, despite suitors seeking reassurances over his attitude. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Really? I haven't subscribed. Sorry, guys. Fuck's sake. I have subscribed to The Athletic, but I haven't subscribed to The Telegraph. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. If there's more good articles on there, then I will. So it'd be interesting to see what comes from that. But yeah, let's dive into the player. I mean, what am I doing here? So we clearly know that it's between Mudryk and Madueke for a player who would come out the door if Garnacho comes in. So let's Garnacho transfer market. Okay, cool. For those of you who don't know, Transfer Market, it's a really, really good website, and you can basically see all the details that you want from a player that you want to analyze. Now, there's other things you can look at as well, like Sofa score, etc., etc. I'm not saying they're bad, but this is just a personal favorite for me. We can look at this season's stats for Garnacho. It's not looking particularly impressive, is it? 20 appearances, 3 goals, 1 assist, and 1 yellow card. 15% goal participation, which isn't actually terrible, if I'm honest. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It's not ideal. I mean, look, these numbers, when I say not terrible, if you were at Crystal Palace, maybe that'd be acceptable. Man United, fuck me. And at Chelsea, we criticize players with double that. And we go, you need to score more goals. Hang on a second. What? He just scored in the last game. There's standards. But yeah, we can't really prop this one up, I'm afraid. There's no hype in this. Started 52% of games. He's played 59% of the minutes available. Give you a little bit more of an insight into him. Left winger, for those of you who don't know, joined Man United in 2022. He's a youth player for them. And this is his market value, which has creeped up. It's a bit of a strange valuation, if I'm honest. What gives him that value? Like, what tells Man United and what tells the market that this is a player worth that much money? And this is okay. This is everything. So we just looked at Premier League minutes in total this season. This is all this season, right? Yeah. Oh, fuck off. Stupid website, man. Right, let's go back. So we've got 20 appearances in the Prem, as we alluded to earlier, for GA. Not great. One appearance in the FA Cup, 1 assist. He's played in the Europa League, EFL Cup, good track record in that competition. I do want to make sure this is the right season, isn't it? Am I being silly here? No, it's the right season. Yeah, this is the right one. So, I mean, it's not impressive, is it? It's not impressive. 31 games, 8 assists, and 8 goals, 5 assists. So we're looking around just under 50% conversion game on game. I don't know. What do you think? I want to hear what you have to say, guys. Let's go through the comments. Big up to you, Milan. Subscribe and like the video. Have we got up to 40 likes on YouTube, guys? Let's get up to 40 likes. You take 25 mil. Poor. 25 is quite a good offer, isn't it? I would be open to anything more than 30 because that is just a great deal. 30 million, I'm okay with it. But also, it's very difficult to find players like Tosin as well. You know, look at it from the Ruben Loftus-Cheek perspective. To have a player in your squad who's happy, not necessarily playing week in, week out. I won't say happy because I'm sure they're not all happy, but they're professional enough to get on with it. They're paid a lot of money. And Tosin is in that bracket of players that won't necessarily play at all at times. You know, they'll have a month where he won't feature. And he still represents the squad and the badge in a very professional manner. And you're already hearing about Sassy leaving because of the lack of minutes. Well, mostly because he's not good enough. Dewsbury Hall wanting more game time. Cassidy wanting more game time. So to have players like Tosin in the squad is more valuable than you think. Because he's good enough to be in the squad and he brings a lot off of the pitch that you don't get from other players. The fact that he's one of the leaders in this squad is valuable in itself. Let's have a look. Tyler Dibbling would be better than Garnacho. To be honest with you, mate, I completely agree with you. I'd take Dibbling. How does that not fit the project? That's a perfect shout. But I think he'd be looking for reassurance of game time. You can't promise game time to these guys. He would be competing against Neto on the right-hand side and potentially Madueke. I think he could get in ahead of Madueke. Alex, you're better than Mudryk. Pointless signing. He's great, but his day doesn't come often enough. I agree with you. If we get Garnacho or Jamie Gittens, where would they fit in the team? And one of them has to go. I would say get rid of Mudryk. Neto is better than Garnacho, and Sancho is better than him as well. That's fair enough. Napoli are looking for a replacement for Kvaratskhelia. Can't pronounce his name. Is he a party boy, though? 60 million for Mason Mount. They are trying to get their money back, potentially. Absolutely. He's overrated. That's why Amarim wants to get rid of him. Do you think this is from the manager? Interesting. But just going back to what we were saying, so these stats, they're not terrible stats, in fairness. I actually expected it to be worse than this. But where are we seeing? I mean, we look at the GA and it's, you know, for a young player, 20 years old, you could probably work with that and say, well, he's going to improve year on year. He's going to get better and better. But the concerning thing is that his goals are all in the FA Cup, Community Shield, EFL Cup, Europa League, and then he's only scored, a very minimal amount in the Premier League. So that's concerning to me because, yeah, I mean, it just doesn't fill me with confidence because you want the guy to be able to perform in the Premier League as well. Who did Man United play in the FA Cup? He scored in the FA Cup. Well, I know they played Arsenal. He said, oh, he got the assist. Sorry. Okay, that would have been the assist. I see. Oh, well, that's quite a big game, so I'll give him that. Who did they play in the Carabao Cup? Who have they played? They lost to Tottenham. They beat Leicester 5-2. I'm sorry. It's hard to take it seriously, isn't it? Those stats. But look, let's see how much he improved. So playing 31 games, or being involved in 31 games, 13 GA in that period, 31 games. And obviously we're only halfway through the season. What about last year? So last year he played 50 games and he got 15 GA. Playing 20 more matches, 19 more matches. So he's only 2 GA away from where he was. So he's certainly improved. There's no doubt about that. But it's about where the goals are coming from. And again, 7 goals, 4 assists is not good enough with 36 games played. Now, this is a young player again, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt. 1 goal in the Champions League, 2 GA in the FA Cup. Okay. And what about the season before? I'll just go that's as far back as I'll go. So he went from 11 GA to 15 GA. And this season he's on 13 already, having played 19 less games, or being involved in 19 less games than he was previously. So I'm very optimistic. I'm not a pessimist. I just say how I see it. And I think that, to be honest with you, a lot of people, just fucking negative. And I want to analyze this as in the most level-headed way that I can. For me, Alejandro Garnacho is showing signs of improvement based on what I've just seen statistically. All right. But this is not a deal I would do in January. I wouldn't do the deal in January. It wouldn't happen. It doesn't seem like a smart thing to do. Chelsea are asking for reassurances. Napoli are asking for reassurances of the player's character. Has he got a good attitude? 50 million is too much. It's too much. And someone commented earlier in the live, speaking about he's on 50 grand a week. Now that's good. That's very good. And Kobe Mainoo, you have to remember, is also on a very small contract in the grand scheme, which is why there was initial interest from Chelsea on him, and that could still be on the table if he doesn't sign. But from my perspective, this is something that you need to let ride out for the rest of the season. And for those of you who have just joined as well, I will just give you another brief idea of what I was talking about. If you look at Garnacho's performances statistically, and I'm talking about GA, that's what people like to talk about. You can see this season he's been involved in 13 GA in 31 games. Now, he might not have played all of the minutes in those games, but that's just That's just what it is. All right, that's what I put it down to. And also, if he's playing less minutes, this is even more impressive, to be fair. So we've gone from, what was it, 11 GA to 15 GA, and he's now on 13 GA. But bear in mind that he's played 19 less games. So that is promising. So from a recruitment perspective, there is something behind this to make Chelsea, as a club that like recruiting young players. I can understand why this would be of interest, but it's too risky at 50 million, for fuck's sake. It's not something that we should do in January. This is a deal that we do in the summer if he continues to perform and doesn't want to sign a new deal. Now, if Garnacho finishes the season, let's just say finishes on 45 games, and bear in mind he's on 13 GA. Let's say he finishes on 20. That is a good progression. I don't think people really appreciate progression. I've never understood why people can't see that a player improves season on season. That's why I'm a defender of Jackson. You can clearly see he's improving. Everything about Jackson's game is getting better. There's aspects that are frustrating, but you can't tell me that Jackson this season is worse than last season, because he's not. He's better. Which is why I'm not that anal about getting a new striker in the summer. I mean, don't get me wrong. If we can get Delap or Gyökeres, more so than Osman, I'm not as keen on Osman. But if we can get those two, or even Osman, fuck it, then I'm not going to shy away from it. But I'm not that annoyed about the fact that we're not getting a striker, because I do think that Jackson can score a lot of goals. Like any striker, Erling Haaland, you miss a lot of chances as well. But if you keep getting in the positions to score the goals, then I think it's a matter of averages. That's just my opinion on it. But yeah, so looking at Garnacho, and we're going to go on to Gittens next. I'm not actually that dumbfounded by the decision of Chelsea to inquire about the player or look at the player. Now, if we were to spend 50 million, I would be annoyed, because I think it's rash. I think we're rushing. We're not in a position where we need a left winger. We have enough in our arsenal at the moment. But it's not 70 million, Tem. It's not 70 million. It's 50 million. Okay. But 50 million is still too much. So I look at that and I say, United are trying to rip us off there. And it's like one of you said earlier. They're trying to just get their money back from Mason Mount. And we're not giving it to them. Fuck that. No way. In the modern market, based on the stats that I'm seeing right now, I think a fair deal for Garnacho, looking at the risk, is anywhere from 35 to 40 million. If we're going for a bargain, you say 30. But United won't accept 30. But if we're going on a deal that two parties could potentially agree on, 35 million would be a fair amount. It's still a risk, but it's not ridiculous, is it? It's nothing crazy. So I'm not entirely against looking at Garnacho, but we need to wait and see what happens in the summer. This is not something that needs to happen in January. So January, no chance. But in the summer, I'm open to it, depending on what happens over the remainder of the season. Again, 11 GA, 15 GA. He's on 13 now, and we're halfway through the season. So I think there is genuine reason to keep an eye on this player. Also, big up to everyone watching. We've got over 330 of you. If you haven't already smashed the like button, please do. It helps the channel massively. Also, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Stocks FC. This is the place where you can buy your favorite players as stocks. So instead of doing fantasy football, you can showcase your football knowledge in a different way and make a little bit of money as well. It's not an app yet. It's actually a website. So you scan the QR code or click the link in the description. It will take you to the website, and you can check out everything they're doing there. Got a little video just to give you an idea of what it is about. Check it out. So there you have it. Just to give you guys a bit of an idea, I think I had Jeremy Doku, and he scored a goal or got an assist the other day, and his stock went up, and I got paid a little bit of money. It's not life-changing, but you can, check it out. Anyway, big shout out to Stocks FC. But back to it. So we've spoken about Garnacho, and I think the consensus from my side is this is a deal worth keeping an eye on, but it's not worth doing anything in January, especially when United want 50 million. So I hope we can all move past that. Let me know in the comments if you agree. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment. Now, also some news as well. According to Sky Sports, the Nkunku to Bayern Munich deal is off. So there is no longer a deal happening in that sense. Now, I am surprised in a way because I do think Nkunku can offer Bayern Munich something quite special. I mean, you've got a player who is just below what I would call world class. He's not world class, but he's a top player. And when played in the right system, a bit like Mesut Ozil, you've got to play him in a system that works for him. But if you can do that, you will see a player thrive massively. And Nkunku is certainly one of those. I'm gutted it hasn't worked out for him, but he was a big part of what Poch was going to do. Pochettino liked him, but it doesn't seem like Maresca's going to value him over Nicholas Jackson. And I can understand why, but at the same time, not so much. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment on the player. Now, let's briefly speak about the other player that I was talking about, Gittens from Borussia Dortmund. Now, this is a player, if I'm honest, I don't know too much about. Jamie Gittens, he's another winger, and he's 20 years old, just like Alejandro Garnacho. So in terms of age and positioning, not much difference there. But Dortmund do have a real talent of producing these young players. So it's always good to keep an eye. Obviously, you've had Erling Haaland. Jadon Sancho was another one who went there. So I certainly think it's worth keeping him on the radar. But I think a bit like Garnacho, it's good to just have a look at the player and just see what he's about, see what he's done, and give our idea on what we think he can do as well. Now, if you look at this season's stats, I would argue that it almost looks a little bit more promising based on this than what we saw with Garnacho. 18 appearances, 7 goals, 4 assists. Much more starting 11 appearances. He's playing more minutes, and he's involved in double the goal participation as a percentage in the Bundesliga compared to Alejandro Garnacho in the Premier League. His goal participation was 15%. Compare that with what we've got here from Gittens, it's over double. Garnacho's minutes were around 55%. This is at 76, 78% in the starting 11. And we got 11 GA in 18 games. So from that perspective, you've got more than a 50% conversion rate. If you're looking at a goal or assist each game, you're going to get that at least 50%. You're going to get that more than 50% of the time. So I think that is that's a good stat to look at. And yeah, I mean, let's dive in a little bit more. So he's English. He was born in London. He's also got citizenship from Barbados. Okay. He joined in 2022. He's a left winger, just like Garnacho. And if we look at his market value, it's exactly the same as Garnacho. And that value has really increased. Let's have a look. Yeah, this season, that's where we've had a big bump. And fair play to him. He's been playing good football by the looks of it. So before this, he played for Man City Youth Academy and Reading Youth. My God, I live near Reading. It's my local team. I don't think I ever saw him play for Reading, though. Not in the youth team. Okay, so what we saw before, the stats that I was showing you with the percentage of goal involvement and the percentage of minutes played, slightly less relevant when you look at all competitions, because you can see he's played more games and obviously been involved in more goals as well. 26 games in total, 11 goals and 5 assists. So we've got 16 GA for 26 games. Again, over a 50% conversion. So if you're looking for a goal from a player, an assist from a player, you know that this player is going to give you that at least 50% of the time, more so actually. But I'm not going to get my calculator out. Bundesliga, as we already spoke about, is good. UEFA Champions League, very nice. 4 goals, 1 assist. That is exceptional. And then the cup, no contributions there. But I mean, the Champions League, that's fantastic. This is what you want to look at. And this is where Garnacho is slightly worrying, because his numbers in the Champions League when he did play was much worse than this. He was getting a lot of goals in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. Now, if you compare that to what we're seeing on here, it's nothing. You can't compare it, can you? It's just totally different. So that is my stance on these players. And yeah, so initially looking at it, Gittens looks like a much more attractive option this season. Now, Garnacho has played more games. He played 31 so far. So there's a couple in front of Gittens. Their GA is roughly the same. Garnacho's on 13. And Gittens is in front by 3 with 16. Fuck's sake, what's going on? That's the only thing about not paying. You get all the adverts popping up. Let's get this reloaded, shall we? So I think that's good. I mean, what do you guys think? Let's go through the comments. I'm not considering Garnacho. I'm just weighing up the options. I'm looking at things from a level-headed perspective. And I'm looking at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Now, if you would have asked me, actually, I'm not going to say this. Would I take Garnacho over Sterling? When Sterling came to Chelsea, because I didn't want Sterling, but would I take Sterling over Garnacho, not knowing how shit it was going to be? Oh, I don't know why that popped into my head. But no, Garnacho's numbers are improving every year. You can say what you want about this season, but they're improving, and he's 20 years old. So when you look at a young player, that is a promising sign. Irrespective of how you think he performs or whether he goes out to nightclubs, that's the reality. We're going to do the same with Jamie Gittens as well. We're going to look at what he's done this season. Well, we can see it now, and we're going to go through previous seasons as well. Big up to you, my friend. I hope you're doing very well. Good morning. Well, good morning to you. It's almost midnight in England. Have I heard about Datro Fofana? No, I haven't. Do you have any news for me? Please share. Do you think we need another right back, Alex? Because it was weird putting Caicedo at right back. He plays as a midfielder while you had Reece James fit enough against Bournemouth and you had Gusto on the bench. It was strange. It was strange. And I spoke to Steve after the game. I did a fan cam with him and Father, and you've probably seen that. That's on about 20,000 views now. And basically he was talking about exactly that, saying you've got a right back that you want to invert. Irrespective of who the right back is, you invert them and you lose the ball. Where is the space? Well, the space isn't going to be in the midfield, is it? Because the right back's inverted and you've already got midfielders there. So the space is going to be in behind those wide areas. And Gusto's clearly not a player that is capable of inverting. So that's certainly something to think about with Maresca. But you know, it's not like he's inverted every single game, but he has done it a lot. And when something doesn't work, you do say to yourself, can we just change things up? But at the same time, you have to look at it from the perspective, and I'm not a football coach, but I do coach sports. That's my day job, to be fair. And you do have to give people time to develop and get used to doing things a certain way. So there's a part of it that is we need to get results, and there's another part which is you need to develop the players. And if you keep changing things and don't stick to your principles, how do you know if anything's going to come through? Sometimes you just need to persevere a little bit, but we'll find this out in the coming months. Cool Tim says it's all a smoke screen. Better than Mudryk. He's not good enough for Chelsea. Titan, first time on the channel, really enjoying it. Thanks for coming. Good to have you in the chat, my friend. I'm glad you are enjoying. You think we missed Lewis Hall? Yeah, but we got a good deal for Lewis Hall, 30 million. I think that was a good deal, to be fair. But he was a good player. But I think that, you know, considering we got Vega in, who's essentially his replacement based on now, we got Vega for half the price we sold Lewis Hall for. So it's good business, isn't it? And Vega's still versatile. But I appreciate that Lewis Hall was a good player. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Would you take Sterling when we signed him over Garnacho now? That's the question I've got for you. So look, I want to get on to Jamie Gittens anyway. So we can see his stats now. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. He's 20 years old. That's good. You know, good stats. All right. But what we want to see is, does it improve? Has it improved? We know it's improved. Obviously, I'm not stupid. His market value has gone up for a reason. But what about in previous seasons? Okay, 23-24. So, wow. Yeah, he's improved dramatically. 34 games, 10 GA, and I think he's on about 26 now with 16 GA. So if that's not an improvement, I don't know what is. That is a much more it's a little bit different to Garnacho, because Garnacho's been sort of a slow growth over a couple of years. He went from 11 GA to 15, and now he's on 13. He'd probably end up on anywhere between 18 and 25, which if he does, I think is a good progression. but the bounce from Gittens is considerably quicker. But you also have to remember that Garnacho is playing in the Prem and Gittens is playing in Germany. I think this is also a factor to look at. I think it's easier as a front player, as a forward player, to play in Germany. I'm not just saying that. You look at this. It's also interesting looking at the timings of when these players score and how many minutes they play. Because is this a player that's just stacking goals in a small period, but not consistent? Played 31 minutes, scored 2 goals in a win against Frankfurt. Assist in a 5-1 loss against Stuttgart. Assist when they beat St. Pauli. Goal and assist when they beat Freiburg. Got a goal and a draw against Munich. Goal and a draw against Mönchengladbach. Assist against Hoffenheim. A goal, another goal. It's consistent, isn't it? A little bit patchy at times, as with any player. That's to be expected, especially a young player. But it was a slow start, and he's picked it up considerably in this season. That's just the league, though, isn't it? In the cup, he's been very consistent in the cup. The only games he didn't score in was Storm Graz and Barcelona. But every other game he's been integral. And in the cup, no goals as of yet. So 50 million. Now, from my perspective, I would say, well, first of all, I'd say just chill out, because it's not over till it's over. If you want to protest on the 3rd of February when it's done, because we could still have a great window. Nobody knows. But there's a chance that we don't. And I appreciate that some people are very angry. Mwebo's got good GA. Yeah. I mean, if I'm looking at the two players and I'm saying I want to spend 50 million in January, I'm saying no to both of them. It's not for me. They're not deals that entice me at this moment. These are deals that you look at in the summer, and then maybe it could push their value up to a realistic fee of 40 million, let alone 50. But I mean, if we could get Garnacho, who's on 50 grand a week, for 35 million, and then we shift on another player, or this could be a direct replacement for Mudryk as well, then is that such a bad thing? Is Garnacho a better player than Mudryk? We know that Mudryk offers something that's totally unique. Not many other players can offer what Mudryk offers. I think it's really good to have that in the team. And I think Mudryk has made a really good impact at times when he's come off the bench. But then you've also got Madueke as well. And the question is, if Garnacho doesn't have a great attitude and you've got players like Madueke, does that rub off well on the squad? You've got two players in key positions that might not be pulling their weight. I gave up. Seen nice again. We are not going for a top striker. And after we cry, why are we going to play Europa League next season? I wouldn't be. Look, there is a chance that we could dip into 8th. Of course there is. It's a long fucking season. We thought we were in a title race. A couple of injuries, and we were in a pretty shaky position. I hope that you're not blaming this on the manager, because I don't think Maresca is the problem here. But I can understand the frustrations towards the recruitment and the ownership. I guess you could. It is their policy, isn't it? They're the ones that want these type of signings. This is the formula that we've now taken. No, I'm not happy with signing Garnacho. But I mean, looking at his stats, he is improving. And if he continues to improve, then it's worth thinking about in the summer. As I said, 2 seasons ago, he finished on 11 GA. Last season, he finished on 15. He's currently on 13. And he's got 19 games remaining to equal his tally from last year. So if you're telling me that if he finishes on 20 or 25 GA, it's not something that you would consider, then I don't see that logic. This is a player that's clearly improving. And if he's not a part of Man United's plans, brilliant. If he's good enough. But it's too early to tell. It's too early to tell. I mean, you've also got the Matthijs Tel as well, but he has nothing to show from this season, really, in terms of minutes played. So that's another risk you're taking at 40 million. It's really difficult. Well, that's not going to happen, is it? That's never going to happen. Not going for the manager, just the owner, as they're trying to play career mode, not going strong on the market. See City just play 80 million for one hot striker in Europe. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, that contract is crazy for Haaland, isn't it? Crazy contract. Biggest contract in the Premier League now, isn't it? Massive contract, 500 grand. 500 grand a week, and it's a 9-year deal. Haaland will be 34 by the time that contract finishes. I disagree. I think Chelsea are a lot more stable this season. And I just spoke about, Garnacho, how he's improving year on year. People don't want to hear it, but we're fucking improving. We are improving. But also, I'm not opposed to saying, and I hope this doesn't happen, because I do like Maresca. I do like him. But if we don't finish in the top 4 and we finish 6th, then you know what I said last season. I'm just going to say that. But I hope we don't end up in that position. I really do. I really don't want us to finish in that position, because then we'll be well and truly in the mud, and we're going to have fucking problems. So pray for Chelsea. Jordan would get Garnacho in the summer if we got rid of Sterling after his loan is ended. Well, we'll definitely get rid of Sterling. I don't think that will be a problem. But we'll see. Not a fan of your club, but like the vids. New sub. Thank you so much, PM. Really appreciate it. I'm talking about Marmouche from Frankfurt. Oh, fucking hell, yes. Oh, my God. Yes. 80 million. Oh, my God. I didn't realize it was that much. That's crazy, isn't it? Got almost 400 of you in the building. Guys, how many likes do we have on YouTube? I don't even know. Please let me know. Have we got to 50 likes at least? Have we got to 50 likes? Give me a shout. Let me know. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the main chunk. Is there anything else that I've missed? Chalobah was in training today. So that's nice to see. Also, another stat for you, which I'll share on screen. Pies, who's been very keen to bring in a striker. Chelsea are second in XG, but we now sit 5th in the league. I've been saying it for months, but we need a more clinical striker. We should activate Gyökeres's release clause, in my opinion. Second in XG, but now sit 5th in the league. So we're creating a lot of chances, but we're not necessarily taking those chances. I'd love to know what our conversions are based on the amount of chances we create. I mean, I know XG it's like goals that you should score, but how many big chances have we missed compared to other teams? I mean, I'd love to know what that stat is. There must be something out there. If we don't reinforce UEFA Conference League, we'll get slightly harder, especially losing our B team. Yeah, but we've got these guys on long contracts as well. We are in a powerful position. You have to remember that if the club don't want to get rid of the players, they can't go. It's all well and good buying young, but we don't have a leader. Who knows, guys? Who knows? We do have leaders, but yeah, very minimal, isn't it? Tossin's not exactly. He's not exactly Thiago Silva, is he? But listen, really appreciate your time, everyone watching as well. I hope. Oh, actually, fuck me, I haven't spoken about João Felix. But it's quite difficult for me to go through this one, if I'm honest, but I will go through it quickly. João Felix, there's been first contacts between AC Milan and Chelsea for João Felix, and that's on Di Marzio. Now, I would love to go through this article with you, but it's in Italian. So I haven't got a clue how to read Italian. But this is a deal that, again, Chelsea will brush off. There's no reason to get rid of João Felix, especially with Nkunku being linked elsewhere. We've got a lot of top players, and top players are always going to have links. So as far as I'm concerned, I would just pan that one to the side. A lot of these links that I'm reading, that could be absolute rubbish. Like, I am not sitting here pretending to be the journalist that has the answers. I'm not the source. I am just like you, but I dive in and I'll see what's out there, and we can get as much info as we can. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to continue to do that in this window as well. But I'm very confident, guys. I'm very confident that we're going to continue to be linked with people. But if there's anything that comes from that, we'll find out later down the line. But yes, I agree. I'd much rather have Gyökeres than Matthias Tel. That's true. But listen, thank you so much, guys. I'm going to go to bed because I'm tired and it's midnight, and I got work in the morning on a Saturday. All the best, guys. Catch up very soon. Smash the like button if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next video.